Residential report writing and case studies. Chapter 4, the Uniform Residential Appraisal. Summary. In this chapter, we covered the role of reporting forms in real property appraising. Most residential report forms are created by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, who are users of appraisal services. Forms are not reports, but they can be used to create reports. We stated that filling out the form properly and completely does not always mean an appraisal report will be compliant with USPAP. We also stated that the content of the report, not its form or format, determines its compliance with the minimum requirements of USPAP. We discussed USPAP reporting requirements, specifically as they relate to the appraisal reporting option. Then we examined the URAR form in detail, page by page, with examples to illustrate ways to communicate appraisal results clearly and effectively using this format. Now it's time for your next end of chapter quiz. Check here if you would like to open this chapter as a PDF, which you can then print or save to your device. End of page. Start quiz. Number 1. What is the primary reason for analyzing sales history of the subject and comparable sales? A. Determine that flipping actions have not occurred. B. Apply a standard percentage to the prior sale amount to arrive at a current value estimate. C. Document all sales of the property. Or D. Find out who the previous owners were. I'm going to go C. Document all sales of the property. Number 2. When appraising a single-family home, an appraiser decides not to develop the income approach. What is the appraiser's requirement for reporting this on the URAR form? A. State that the approach was not developed. B. Explain the reason the approach was not developed. C. Develop the approach anyway and keep it in the work file. Or D. Nothing. The client does not expect the income approach to be developed on an appraisal of a single-family home. I'm going to go B. Explain the reason the approach was not developed. Number 3. All of these may set forth guidelines establishing how recent and proximate comparable sales must be, except for A. Fannie Mae, B. Ginnie Mae and USPAP, C. Freddie Mac, or D. Clients. I'm going to go clients. Number 4. At the top of page 2 of the URAR form, which listings and sales should be considered and reported? A. All sales and listings within the defined neighborhood. B. All sales and listings within the local municipality. C. Only properties that have sold within the prior 3 months. Or D, only properties that are comparable to the subject? I'm going to go D, only properties that are comparable to the subject property. Number 5. What is a reason why residential appraisers are often form-focused? A. USPAP requires the use of forms. B. Most state appraisal boards mandate the use of forms. C. Forms have been standardized by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Or D. Use of a form means that the report is automatically USPAP compliant. I'm going to go C. Forms have been standardized by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Number 6. The requirement to research prior listings of the subject within the last 12 months is A. A HUD requirement. B. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac requirements. C. Option in a Fannie Mae appraisal assignment. Or D. A jurisdictional exception. I'm going to go B. A Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac requirement. Number 7. Standards Rule blank provides a convenient checklist for appraisers to ensure they are complying with the minimum report content requirements of USPAP. A. 2-2, B. 2-3, C. 2-4, or D. 1-2. I really don't know this one, but I'm going to go on a random guess. I'm going to go B. 2-3. I'm probably going to get that one wrong though. Number 8. The most requested residential appraisal report is the A. Qualitative appraisal report. B. The URAR report. C. The SRIPAR SRIPAR. Or D. Quantitative analysis report. I'm going to go B. The URAR report. Number 9. Jamal receives an appraisal assignment from a lending institution. What should not be a consideration for Jamal when he determines the scope of work for the appraisal development process? A. The intended use of the appraisal. B. The definition of value required. C. The report form the client has requested. Or D. The physical and economic characteristics of the property. I'm going to go C. The report form the client has requested. Number 10. In a Fannie Mae appraisal, which FEMA zones would be considered special flood hazard areas? A. Zones B and C. B. Zones C and D. C. Zones A, B, and C. or D, zones A and V? I'm going to go D, zones A and V. I have had this question before. I just don't remember the answer. Number 11. Which of these conditions would be considered a red flag in a residential mortgage lending appraisal assignment? A. The pending sale appears to be an arm's length transaction. B. The sale contract provided by the lender is signed and dated. C. Seller concessions are excessive for the market. Or D. The seller's name on the contract is the same as the owner's name in the public records. I'm going to go C. Seller's concessions are excessive for the market. Number 12. On an appraisal report for a refinance loan, the lender will want to ensure that the name of the borrower, A, includes any nicknames or aliases, B, is not disclosed to the appraiser due to privacy concerns, C, is the same as the current owner of record, or D, is different than the current owner of record. I'm going to go C. Number 13. For purposes of the URAR form, which statement is true concerning effective age and actual age? A. The form asks for only effective age. B. The form asks for both. C. The form asks for only the actual age. Or D. They are the same thing. I'm going to go B. The form asks for both. Finish. You scored a 76.9%. You needed a 75%. Number 1. What is the primary reason for analyzing sales history of the subject and comparable sales? You said, oh, you got this one wrong. Okay. You said document all sales of the property. That is incorrect. The correct answer is to determine that flipping actions have not occurred. The purpose of this research is to ensure that illegal flipping actions have not occurred with either the subject or the comparable sales used in the sales comparison approach. This research can be an indication of market trends, but that is not its primary purpose. Chapter 4, URAR, page 2, sales history section. Number 2, when appraising a single-family home, an appraiser decides not to develop the income approach. What is the appraiser's requirement for reporting this on the URAR form? You said explain the reason the approach was not developed, and you answered that correctly. Number 3, all of these may set forth guidelines establishing how recent and proximate comparable sales must be, except for. You said clients. That is incorrect. The correct answer is Ginnie Mae and USPAP. USPAP does not establish specific requirements for selection of comparable sales. although clients and intended users often do. Chapter 4, URAR, page 2, Sales Comparison Analysis section. Number 4, at the top of page 2 of the URAR form, which listings and sales should be considered and reported? You said only properties that are comparable to the subject property, and you answered that correctly. Number 5, what is the reason why residential appraisers are often form focused? You said C, forms have been standardized by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and you answered that correctly. Number 6, the requirement to research prior listings of the subject within the last 12 months is a, you said Fannie Mae / Freddie Mac requirement, and you answered that correctly. Number 7, standards rule blank provides a convenient checklist for appraisers to ensure they are complying with the minimum report content requirements of USPAP. You said 2-3, and that is incorrect. The correct answer is 2-2. Standards Rule 2-2 provides a convenient checklist for the minimum content requirements for USPAP compliant real property appraisal reporting, no matter what the form or format. Chapter 4, the Uniform Residential Appraisal Report. Number 8, the most requested residential appraisal report is the B. You said a URAR report, and you answered that correctly. Number 9, Jamal receives an appraisal assignment from a lending institution. What should not be a consideration for Jamal when he determines the scope of work for the appraisal development process? You said the report form for the client has requested. You answered that correctly. Number 10, in a Fannie Mae appraisal, which FEMA zones would be considered special flood hazard areas? You said zones A and V, and you answered that correctly. That was a hard one. Number 11, which of these conditions would be considered a red flag in a residential mortgage lending appraisal assignment? You said seller concessions are excessive for the market, and you answered that correctly. Number 12, on an appraisal report for a refinance loan, the lender will want to ensure that the name of the borrower, you said, is the same as the current owner of record, and you answered that correctly. Number 13, for the purposes of the URAR form, which statement is true concerning effective age and actual age? You said the form asks for both, and you answered that correctly. Continue.